Okay, well, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. There's still about 10 people-ish who were registered to attend tonight, and whether they're having technical difficulties or they just changed their mind and they don't care anymore. But we're going to go ahead and get started. So, first of all, thank you all for being on our first virtual town hall. And the plan right now, just a couple of logistical things so that you're aware of. Everyone's mics, as I've been saying as people come in, you are currently muted. If you have any questions here in the first part of the meeting, as we're just going to kind of just update you on various things. If you have any questions specific to those, go ahead and enter them into the chat. Tyler will be monitoring the chat, and so if there's anything that he's like, oh wait, we really probably should talk about that, he will let me know about that. And do make sure that you click the chat window so you can see that, and I see there's little chats going on over there right now. Let's see. We will, when we get into the discussion portion of tonight, I will unmute everyone and then give you back the power to mute and unmute yourselves. But just to keep things from going too far off the rails, we're doing it that way to start off with. So let's see if I can get to go to the next slide. There we go. Kind of the agenda for tonight is a general update and recap of what's been happening, because nothing crazy is going on at all right now. Then we're going to talk about some future scheduling, and this is really the point where we want to hear from you guys. We want to hear about programming ideas that you might have. We also want to hear about what is going to make you feel safe returning to the theater, both as volunteers and as audience members. And also we want to talk about some additional programming things that we can do in the community to keep people engaged in the arts and keep you engaged in the arts and keep you being creative and to keep you from just going absolutely nutty cuckoo. Some of you are closer to nutty cuckoo right now as it is, so there's that. But first, I'm gonna let Morgan say some hellos. So Morgan, you are unmuted.
Thank you, Janie. And thank you everyone that has taken the time of their evening to come and give your input and hear what we've been up to. All of you have such valuable voices and your time means a lot to us, so I sincerely appreciate being here. And I look forward to hearing your thoughts and the great ideas you have and the cool stuff we can all come up with together. So thanks everyone.
All right. And so now I think there's a manageable enough number of us that we can actually go through really quickly and just introduce yourselves. I will say your name and unmute you, and you can say hi, everybody, and say why you decided to jump on to the town hall tonight. Okay, so we're going to start off with Arison. Oh, wait, there we go. You're unmuted now.
I did it. Well, I'm Arison. I decided to show up because I like being here and I have some input that I would like to give about what's gonna happen. And I want to shamelessly plug everybody to start going to the Film Club Friday.
Yeah. I thought maybe you were going to plug your wedding registry.
Oh yeah, also registered at Target and Amazon.
All right. Ashley.
Hi. Okay, I'm Ashley, and I'm here because obviously I love the theater very, 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 very much. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to see my friends, wanted to chat and talk about the theater.
Awesome. Brandon.
Hi, my name is Brandon, and I'm here as a member of the board of directors for Community Players, and I am interested in getting your guys' input on the programming that we have done and any programming ideas you guys might have moving forward, and then also any concerns that might come up.
Awesome. Callan?
I'm Callan, a ex-board member, and I was currently in Flaming Idiots, and I was asking some questions earlier this week to Jamie. I realized, you know what, those are kind of board member questions, and maybe I should show up to this meeting and find out where the theater's at, because I'm not in the know anymore.
And it's killing you, isn't it?
It is. I'm not ready to come back either.
All right. Thank you, Callan. Cheryl.
Hello, and I do have my video muted because no one wants to see that right now. So anyway, and I have my granddaughter by me on my lap. So basically, I just got on to hear what others are thinking. And as a board of director member, I'm just always interested to see what the thoughts of the community are. So that's it.
Awesome. And Heidi.
I'm Heidi. I just do everything Jamie tells me to do. You get the email join. I've been doing the film clubs. Honestly, I just need anyone who's not in my house to talk to me. So I can go to any Zoom meeting you want me to go to.
With all the various nifty backgrounds that are now available.
Yes, I'm on the Hamilton set right now.
All right. So Laura.
Oh, let me see.
Oh, she just muted herself.
Oh, there I am. Sorry,
Okay.
guys, sorry to be late. My internet is not cooperating. That's why I have no video. But here as a brand new board member to hear what people's interests, concerns, comments might be.
Awesome. Lizzie.
Sorry, I was looking for a background. Hi, I'm Lizzie. I'm Lizzie. I really just wanted to catch up with everyone. I miss everyone, and I wanted to see updates for what's happening.
Awesome. Lori.
Hello, everyone. I joined tonight just to reconnect and say hello and catch up on what people are doing and what they'd like to see in the future.
Mason.
Hi, gang. I'm Mason. And you will notice my background here is Mason's office. So I'm here because I've been fortunate enough to stay busy with theater over the last couple months, but I'm now looking at not having my typical summer projects and things. So yeah, I am interested to see what we can all be doing.
Awesome. Missy.
Oh, hi guys. I think you all know me. I know all of you. I'm the costume librarian at the theater, and I'm here because I have a vested interest in the theater and all of its members, and I want to hear what everybody has to say too. So this is really cool that we can all meet like this, and good to see all your beautiful faces.
Right, Peggy.
Am I unmuted?
Yes.
Harrison has to mute.
Wait, no, she's muted. You are like really echoey though.
Okay, is that better?
Yes.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. So I'm Peggy, and I'm a problem usually like that. And I'm here because Harrison said it was a really good idea. Just kidding. I'm obviously just really interested in what's going on with the theater and what I can do to help going forward so we can keep seeing great theater in Beatrice.
Awesome. Come on. Sometimes it's just a little slow unmuting. There you go. Rhonda Ray.
Well, I wanted to hear what everybody had to say, and I miss everybody, and so I'm just want to keep informed.
Awesome. And there we go. All right, Val.
Hey, Brent and Natalie are here with me as well, and also Natalie's little dog, Minnie. And we are tuning in because we just can't cut the umbilical cord. So we are forever CP maniacs and want to make sure that you guys are all doing okay and staying afloat. And there's Minnie. Wave, Minnie. All right, so that's why we're here.
Great. All right, so now I'm going to reposition some stuff on my screen so I can see stuff. So now I'm just going to kind of dive in. If there are any questions about things as I'm kind of talking through stuff, put them in the chat, and Tyler will kind of get my attention because I have the chat on
we're
another
Tyler
monitor.
and Elena too, by the way. Tyler.
Oh yeah, sorry. I guess the two of you should introduce yourselves. Sorry.
It's fine. Tyler, Rennie. We're both here because our boss told us to anyway. So
yeah. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so talking about just some general updates for the organization, just kind of how we're doing right now. First off, we are still coming into the office. Tyler, Elena, and myself, and Missy on Wednesdays. We are coming in. We are able to socially distance, or they're married and it doesn't matter.
Nothing matters once you're married.
Yeah. But we are still coming in every day from 10 to 5 and working on the various things that are going on, and also keeping our eyes on all the latest developments of things with an eye towards how we can open as quickly as possible. Let's see, then do want to update everyone that we did receive a payroll protection loan. So we are all still getting paid at least until June. So that's a positive update there. And then also just lots of just regular things have been going on just around here, just the normal kind of daily operations and making sure the building doesn't collapse. You know, that's just all still needs to happen. Advance my next slide. So one kind of just a normal up to just thing happening is the fact that in any other year, this would be a big deal. The theater for the first time in probably 40 years has updated our mission statement at the last board meeting. And any other year, this would be a big deal. But now it's kind of like, oh yeah, this happened. But anyway, this is our old mission statement. I won't read it to you. I trust that you can read on your screens if you're able to see the screen. But this is our new mission statement, which we've been developing since this fall, which is pretty exciting. It says, community players engages and enriches Southeast Nebraska through the arts by deepening connections, utilizing inclusive programming, and producing quality live theater. We think that this new mission statement, specifically with that reference to the arts and the impact and how it really connects communities, is particularly important to a lot of the programming that we've been doing lately, and now even more relevant, I think, because we all want to connect, and the arts are a terrific way for us to do that. So that mission statement was, like I said, just approved this last month's board of directors meeting, you know, when we did do just regular old boring mundane stuff. But the big thing is all the Hold Please programming that's been going on. And there's been a lot of stuff going on that I think is really cool, everything that we've had happening. We have been sending out weekly emails to all of our people on our email list, just letting everyone know what's going on, but also just kind of just staying connected and keeping communications going. There's lots of social media stuff that we've been pushing out, and I really have to give a shout out to Elena for really managing a lot of that social media content, particularly on our Instagram page, which is always super active. but managing all of the hashtag #HoldPleaseCP and all of the various things that we are doing on social media in relations to that. And also thank you to all of you who've been participating in the hashtag #BackstagePast. It's a great way to be interactive with that stuff. We've had the Film Club Friday going on for a while. There's no Film Club Friday this Friday tonight because we're here, but it's been a good time. Tyler, you want to say anything about that?
No, it's just been a lot of fun to discuss some theater-related movies, and that is kind of a watch on your own time thing, and we all just get together and discuss it for about an hour, and then we just kind of hang out and have fun. It's basically like a Friday night after rehearsal a lot of times. So if you haven't seen the movie in a while or seen it at all, just come out and hang out with us again, just like this. It's nice to see everybody.
And you get to see lots of pets.
Definitely.
And Harrison loves it, so.
Yeah.
Harrison's gonna
let's see. Also, we've repurposed our podcast that we had launched actually just back in February. That was supposed to be a pre-show podcast, and it's been repurposed to doing interviews with people who have connections to community players from all over the country. And that's been a really fun thing for me to be doing. And we've had a lot of really good interviews with people. And so I really encourage everyone to subscribe to the Places Please podcast and listen to we've had 6 episodes so far in the Hold Please mini-series. Did you want to say something, Tyler? I think I heard you unmute.
No.
Okay. Also, hopefully you've seen the fact we had Last Ticket out of Thistleberry Thicket posted to our YouTube channel about 2 weeks ago, and there's the associated study guide that goes along with that. We've made that content available to the community for free. I haven't looked at our YouTube metrics this week to see how many views it's had, but I'm really pleased that we've been able to put that content out there and available to people.
The last I saw it was just under 100, but like I said, it wasn't this week that I looked at it.
Okay. Yeah, and then also I didn't have I'm going to back up because I didn't have a bullet point for this, but season ticket drive is also launched, and I have to say we've had a tremendous response from people so far in regards to renewing their season tickets, and we've had a lot of people who have actually upgraded their season tickets, which has been great. I think I would say 75% of the people who have sent in season tickets so far have either upgraded their level of support or added an extra donation with it, which has been a real godsend, honestly. And now, so coming soon, next Saturday is Dinosaur Vacation. Tyler, do you want to just give a quick plug for Dinosaur Vacation?
Yeah, so for those of you who have no idea what the heck this actually is, it's a story that I wrote when I was in 4th grade and my teacher let read in front of the class. So a few years ago at a cabaret, I actually read the first couple chapters of it, again not in front of the class, but in front of an audience. And there has been just nonstop demand to bring the whole story to life, finally. So actually, last night, I recorded it at the theater. Elena helped me out. And this coming week and this weekend, I'm going to be working on editing that together. So it is a pre-recorded performance, and then it will be available to essentially rent basically next weekend. And then it'll be up for probably about a month or so. So just, you don't have to attend the actual performance date on Saturday night, but it will be available for around a month or so to rent. So yeah, we're excited about it. It's fun. I had fun recording it last night, and I think you guys will enjoy it.
And you can get tickets for that now on our website, and they're $10. And we suggest $10 per person who's going to be watching, but $10, you can have 20 people sitting in your. Well, you can't have 20 people sitting in your house. You can have 10 people sitting in your house, and you can all watch that and go on an epic adventure.
It's just so you guys know, too, it's probably going to be around 45 minutes long. So that's about the amount of entertainment you have ahead of you.
Yeah.
Well, entertainment may vary, but that's as long as the video will be.
And that will be, by the way, it's a password protected thing. So you do have to, buy a ticket to get the password and get the website address for that. One other little thing that we threw out today was the Zoom meeting backgrounds that are available on our website. And I don't know, I don't have you guys' faces up on my thing. I don't know if any of you are using any of them at the moment, but feel free to go and download those from our website and start using those in your various Zoom meetings as your backgrounds to help build awareness of community players all over the place in all of your various little meetings. All right, so future plans. So we really want everyone to know that at this point, no one knows for sure when we're going to reopen, when anything is going to be reopening. It's always changing, but we do have several different versions of what reopening looks like. In fact, we have 6 different models of when we could reopen and what we could do depending on when we reopen and what social distancing guidelines are in place at that time. And I'm going to just real quickly show them to you in just a moment. But a couple of questions that people have been asking about the current season. Number one, Flaming Idiots. Flaming Idiots, we're working with the publishing company to get permission to stream it publicly. Unfortunately, we did not get permission. The publishing company actually really tried to get us permission, but the playwright literally never responded to their request, and they were after him like for over a month to try and find out. So that said, we are not, listen carefully to the words that I am speaking. We are not publicly going to be making a performance of that available. However, I will say subscribers and production team members, watch your emails for any potential play reading clubs that might be related to Flaming Idiots. So that's all, that's because this video will be put out online, so I won't say anything more about that. Next up though is Mamma Mia. A lot of people are wondering about Mamma Mia. We still do intend to produce that show in some form. At this point, it will probably end up being a concert staging of it. So it can be done with a little bit more minimal sets and maybe just one costume for people, a base kind of costume, and something fancy and sparkly for that finale thing. We were already intending to perform the show with tracks, so we don't have the orchestra worries that we would normally have in a musical. So our plan right now is to, once we kind of know a little bit more certain timeline, we will have virtual auditions for that show, and then we'll spend like a week or two doing Zoom meeting music rehearsals with the music director, and then we anticipate it'll take us about 3 weeks to actually put the show together as a concert. That includes kind of figuring out how it's going to be staged, and whatever kind of set it's going to have. So that's the game plan for Mamma Mia. And we're exploring doing it in different venues, especially depending on what social distancing requirements may still be in effect, and also gathering size requirements. Obviously, you know, the auditorium can seat 200, but if we can't get, if we're not allowed to have 50 people in a room together, it's really pointless to do the show. So we are thinking about doing it in Chautauqua Park in the Tabernacle as an outdoor event. And so then people could come, they could spread out, and we'd still be able to have that show performed. Let's see, also, if because of scheduling things and timelines, if we can't get it done this summer, we will likely do it in January, and we will perform it possibly out at the Hevalone Center, doing it as a concert again, but in the Hevalone Center space for just 3 performances there. So the show will go on in some shape, way, or form. It's just a matter of what that is all going to be. And speaking of that, here are the 6 different models of reopening that we have envisioned at this point. These change daily, unfortunately. I'll tell you that Plan A is out the window already, because there's no way that even in late June do we think that we'll be able to have stuff going on. So you can kind of see on the screen there the various types of reopening that we're envisioning. In all honesty, I feel like Plan F all the way on the end there is probably going to be the most likely scenario, which would be Mamma Mia in the park in July, a performance of Scarecrow and his servant. Oh, but by the way, that show is still in existence. I forgot to mention that. And so Tyler, mention how you're envisioning doing that show.
Yeah, so since the kids have already been rehearsing that for a few months, or had been rehearsing that for a few months, I really want to put it up some way. And it will be kind of along the lines of the Mamma Mia concert, in that it will be a staged reading. No matter what, that is how we're going to do that show. Probably still with scripts closer to a reader's theater piece, and I'll read the stage directions for it. And it really will depend on kind of when and how we come back, being able to get all 20 some of those kids together to perform it. It will be a live production. I did reach out to my publisher as well, that it is not, they were not going to allow us to do a streaming performance of that in any way. So it will really depend on when we can all be back in the theater together and a big enough, and Arison asked what date in August. Really no idea. The months are even kind of tangible, barely tangible right now, Arison. So we really don't know when that's going to happen. It will probably be either 1 or 2 performances, not the full 3 weekend run. Mostly just to get the parents in there to see the show. Anything I'm forgetting on that, Jamie? Or
no.
Okay.
And we can be flexible, Arison, as far as that August date, because I imagine you're asking because somebody's getting married. But let's see. Also, in that Plan F, we do kind of rearrange the season a little bit to accommodate running the smaller plays at the beginning of the season, anticipating those are smaller casts, and also they wouldn't have the big draws that Music Man and Mamma Mia and Elf are going to have. So we're hoping that with that kind of model in place, we can kind of ease into welcoming people back in if we have to, ease back in. And then you can kind of see there the way, you can see here the way that season kind of plays out. Is Mamma Mia in Plan F twice? Hey, it is, isn't it? Mamma Mia is in Plan. We're going to do Mamma Mia twice. I think I put that there because there's 2 alternatives. Mamma Mia could happen in July in the park, or if need be, it could happen in January in the Hebelone Center. I think that was the thought process there. Good catch. I've been looking at this chart for like a week and a half, and that's the first time anyone has caught the Mamma Mia twice. Or it's going to be so popular, we're going to do it twice. Let's see. What about Clue and 3 Musketeers with the... Yes. Yes. So in the Plan F model, it's going to be either 3 Musketeers or Clue. The Plan F model does cut a show from the season, just because of time.
Yeah, you'll also know on that same note that there is a 1 less acting up show as well.
Yes, yes. There's only 1 acting up show in the Plan F model, and I think there's only 1 acting up show in Plan D as well.
And that's mostly because we would have to move Frozen so far into the season that would essentially take the place of the acting up show, although it would not be available just to acting up students. Talking about those and kind of the age restrictions that those productions do have, we would just approach the age restrictions as if they were happening when they should have. So for instance, people that would have aged out of Frozen, say they turned 16, if they were still 15 by the time we would have done the show in the summer, they're still okay to do the show. Really, those are our own arbitrary rules we give. It's not like we're competing or it's a school thing or anything like that. So we're going to be really flexible with admitting kids into those productions.
Yep. So anyway, those are our thought processes at this moment. They will change as no one knows for sure what's going on or when things will go on, but know that we do have some alternative schedules in mind to make everything work. Let's see, what is my next slide? Oh yes, so to talk about what do our reopening procedures look like. Well, obviously we probably can't all be shaking hands like they are in that picture. So here's some things that we've been working on. We've been working with a company called Disaster Hawk to develop some of our reopening policies. This company is developing some policies for community theaters all over the country. We connected with them through the American Association of Community Theater. So they're kind of establishing some pseudo-national standards for things. This company is in the disaster mitigation business. This is kind of what they do. So that's what's going to be, we're working with them, but we are also developing our own plans, looking at what other places are doing, and modifying things so that they work for us, but also so that they are in compliant with whatever regulations may be in place at the time that we reopen. Here's some things that we are for sure thinking about doing. Obviously, there's going to be hand sanitizer all over the facility. You can help us in regards to hand sanitizer everywhere, in that if you go to a place like Walmart and you don't need to pick up an extra thing of hand sanitizer or Clorox wipes or something, and they happen to be in the store, buy one for the theater and then donate it to us so that we can kind of build up a stockpile, because unfortunately our distributors where we would normally order these kind of supplies, they're out of stock and they don't have dates to estimate on when we'd be able to order the big industrial mugs of hand sanitizer. If you do go to the Beatrice Walmart, depending on the day, you can, these sort of things are there. In fact, yesterday I was there, the shelf was full. But they do have a sign that says limit 1 per person. So I just bought 1. And that's why we're saying that's something that everyone can do to help us if they want. That and Clorox wipes. Clorox wipes and disinfecting wipes have not been seen on a shelf anywhere. So let's see, talking about some of our other procedures, volunteers and staff, when we start in on production again, everyone will have their temperature taken. We have ordered the little infrared thermometer gun things, so we can take your temperature when you walk in. If you have a fever, you're gonna go home. Let's see, anyone who is sick or becomes sick during a rehearsal process will be sent home immediately, obviously. We are also developing some procedures for and a plan for disinfecting the auditorium on a daily basis, and a plan to disinfect the green room, dressing rooms, costumes, and props on a daily basis as well. And we are considering having front of house volunteers wearing masks and gloves at performances. A lot's going to depend on what we're told that we have to do and just how people feel in general. And let's see, what's my next slide here? Oh, nope, I didn't want that yet. Oh, there it went. Sorry about that, I lost the screen share. I hit the wrong button. There, okay, it's back now. Rather than wear a suit and tie, yeah. Let's see, we're also looking at alternative seating charts. We could pretty easily accommodate, for example, 100 people in the auditorium. So that's just half the capacity of the 200-seat auditorium that we have. I've also kind of devised and looked at a seating chart that would place about 6 feet between people, assuming that people come as a couple so that they would have lived together, and so they would come and sit together, and then 6 feet between the next 2 seats together, and then skipping rows. We could probably seat about 48 people in a strict social distancing seating arrangement. It would probably also mean, though, running shows an extra performance or 2 longer, just to kind of compensate for the lack of seating capacity. Especially if we're still having to do less than 100 people when we're doing a show like Music Man or something. We'd obviously run like a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of thing. So that Wells Fargo wagon will be making lots of trips down the street. So now, the first big interactive thing, you guys have listened to me talk and mess up the presentation enough. The first thing that we really want to ask you guys, and I'll unmute everyone in just a moment, but that is, knowing these steps that we've talked about, would it make you feel more confident in returning to the theater? And also, what additional things could we do to make you feel confident? And so hold on a second, I'm going to unmute everyone. So I'm going to unmute everyone, but if you don't have anything to say, go ahead and mute yourself. And then after you say something, mute yourself so we don't have lots of background noise and things like that going on. So everyone is now, should be now, oh, I hit the wrong button. All right, everyone is now unmuted. So thoughts?
Well, I'll go first. Yeah, I definitely think that that would definitely make me feel very confident returning. Yeah, I think that's some great steps. I don't know if I have any additional things. I'm not really like a health expert or anything. So then sometimes I don't have any regard for my personal health and safety. So I think that's great. And I really, really cannot wait till I can just, you know, be in that space and breathe in the theater and just be back.
I worry about the asymptomatic carriers because I'm a hypochondriac, and you know, if I get it, I'm probably the one who's going to die. And that you don't have a fever. I guess the only thing that I would really want to know is if we do have someone who has it, or they have like a very close connection, I would want to know as soon as possible. I wouldn't want, you know, it swept under the rug, because if I have the potential of getting it because of the person knows someone in their family and they have it, kind of a thing, I would like to be able to make the choice of going, no, I don't feel safe, I'd rather be at home.
Right. I will share, we saw today another theater's preliminary policy on this, and their policy is going to be that if someone in the production is diagnosed with it, the production stops work for 2 weeks. And then things have to adjust. But the production stops in-person rehearsals for 2 weeks.
On that, oh, maybe you're about to say it, Jamie, but about that too, if someone in someone in the show, their family, they're sick, that person gets recast because of that.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily what we're doing, but that's what we saw.
But that's what the one theater's policy that we saw today said. And that's, we formed a task force on the board to develop and to really fine tune all these policies. So that task force is going to be seeing this other organization's policies, and we're going to be looking at the stuff that we're getting from Disaster Hawk, and kind of putting it all into one package that we think will work for us. Other thoughts? You don't have to raise your hand, Harrison.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that no one else is going to start talking. So would we then be looking at reducing size of like run crew and just people who are like the foot traffic within the theater as far as that goes?
Probably, just depending on what the conditions are. You know, like if if we, fortunately, like a show like Silent Sky is a 5-person cast, and then you get a director, a stage manager. You can stay under 10 that way with a show like that. For a bigger production is when the problems kind of come in, which is why also one thing, I don't know if I have it on my list of things to mention, but something that we are also kind of looking at just from a purely keep the doors open financially standpoint, is to have a couple of 1 or 2 person shows on standby, more or less, so that, if we suddenly find out that there's no way that we could have Elf happen because of there's too many people in the cast and everyone and their reindeer will want to come see the show, then we'll come up with like a 1-person Christmas Carol or something like that.
How do you suggest reindeer monologues, Jamie?
There we go. We'll finally be able to do reindeer monologues. Oh, Callan says he cannot unmute.
Callan, hover over your picture and mute will show up.
I think
It kept telling me the host had muted me and wouldn't let me unmute.
Oh. Okay.
Anyway, I would just put my little note there in case you didn't read it. From where I work, we have to be really careful with people's medical information. And if someone were to become positive, we have to get their permission before we can let the other employees know that we had someone that tested positive for COVID.
It's a good point.
So,
maybe it's something along the lines of when you audition or you're cast in a show, you sign a release that says if you are diagnosed, we have permission to share that information.
Yeah.
With the cast, not posted on our Facebook page.
I'm just saying you need to have something in place so that people can agree to it and know that's what's going to happen down the road.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you, Callan. Other thoughts? Otherwise, you're all ready to come grab your masks and come back to the theater right now. Oh, Val says she can't unmute either. That is so weird. I know why. There we go. Now everyone should be able to unmute themselves.
I agree with Callan. One thing you're going to do, because you can do pre-screenings of people coming in. Like Callan says, HIPAA rules will dictate that you can't share the knowledge. However, you can let people know that someone is contagious or has been is susceptible to the virus. You can't say who it is because there are rules about it, but you can do that with a pre-screening. And then you also, right now, CDC rules in the state, like traveling 100 miles outside, you have to be within that certain distance. So it can be done. It's just you got to watch how you do it.
Yeah. Thank you. And now anyone should be able to unmute themselves. I'm sorry, I forgot to turn that setting off. I'm still learning this Zoom thing. I'm just happy we've got the fancy backgrounds.
Don't feel bad, Jamie. Just a second. You got it?
Peggy's in the Twilight Zone.
Don't feel bad, Jamie. I have a meeting every week with my principal, and he has the same problem with muting, unmuting, and sharing his screen. So don't feel bad at all that this first time out you got that. We do it weekly.
For a one-person show, maybe we need somebody who would do like a Cole Porter one-man show.
Yeah, I know. Since we've now done, we're doing Tyler's one-person show. I guess we should drag mine out of the steamer trunk.
Maybe in the new season, if you thought about like the the nudie music or nudie season of Jamie.
Naked season.
The naked season. Well, that'll be the season afterwards, as we sell more tickets.
You
Or
missed the
fewer
light.
tickets. All right. Any other comments in that regard? All right. I'm going to mute everyone again here. But I'm allowed participants. But you should be able to unmute yourselves going forward. Let's see. So the next question that I really have for you guys is, what can we do now? We've been doing a lot of stuff. Oh, sorry, I want to just backtrack for just a second. Back to the things that we can do. I just looked down at my notes. What are thoughts on regarding requiring the entire audience to wear masks? Also, no physical programs, and thoughts on taking everyone's temperature when they enter the building. Just those were some things that other places have floated around. I just wanted to get a little bit of a take the temperature of the room, as it were.
Do you think if we took the temperature of everyone that came into the building, that would just constantly remind them that they might be going into an unsafe environment and freak more people out?
That's a great point.
Because they're already right now going to Walmart feels like, a supply run on The Walking Dead. I just wonder that if we do that and everyone's, wearing masks and all of that stuff, that it just sends the whole, we are tempting fate to be out and scare them away even more. Just something to think about.
Yeah, that's a, let's see, Steve has his hand up. By the way, Steve Pearson joined us midway through here, so I'm trying to get Steve unmuted, but I can't unmute him.
I think I'm there.
Okay.
No, I was just going to say, I think most of the time, just in working at the Lead Center, most of the time people have found that the things that you're afraid are going to scare people actually just prove that you're doing something. A lot of performing arts centers were afraid to have security when people started worrying about shootings and things like that, but and that kept a lot of people from implementing real obvious security for a long time. And over time they realized that people were like, oh no, I feel safe because there's a cop with a gun here, as opposed to, oh crap, there's a cop with a gun here. And I think the same thing is going to hold true in this type of situation, where we're going to find that, like, oh, they're taking every precaution to make sure that I'm not going to get sick here by taking everyone's temperature and stuff, and that's going to make them feel safe. That's just based on what people have found on the security end of things. I think this is a similar situation.
Okay. Yeah. If you can you share anything with us, Steve, of like what the Lead's thinking is?
Sure. I've got a list about 10 pages long of things that we're considering. And some of the things that you've mentioned are on our list. We're talking about going programless. And we had already, in the last few shows before we closed, had stopped the practice of like recycling programs back into use. We had gone straight to sending them to actual recycling, as opposed to having a patron touch a program that another patron had touched. If we do physical programs, we're going to quit handing them out and have them on a table for people to pick up, because there's no way to socially distance hand somebody something. We're talking about getting rid of paper tickets and only doing things on phones that can be scanned, so that there's no touch. We had already implemented that ushers weren't allowed to touch people's tickets, either in the scanning process or in the seating process. The person had to hold them up for them to see it. Let's see. We've put together socially distant maps of of the house in different formats. Talking about, this is probably not an issue for Beatrice, but talking about closing off like alternate stalls and alternate sinks in the bathrooms, so that people aren't standing next to each other. In bathrooms, let's see, I'm looking through of stuff that applies. Yeah, we are talking about the temperature thing as a possibility. Having to clean and sanitize like everything that gets touched by staff and used by somebody else again, like radios and those sorts of things at the end of each night. More hand sanitizer out and available. Some other performing arts centers are talking, and again, this would be really hard for you, but talking about not doing intermissions because the time when people are milling about is where it's going to be hard to enforce social distancing. So in this situation, it'd be more like, if you don't have to physically be in the bathroom now, please remain seated, as opposed to get up and mill about. Let's see. We're going to rearrange furniture in the lobbies and stuff to try to enforce social distancing more. Put no-touch soap dispensers in all of the bathrooms. We're going to have to wipe down every seat and armrest between performances. Taking out access to drinking fountains. We're talking about some kind of no-touch concessions or no concessions at all. If we are going to require everyone to wear masks, then if every audience member is wearing a mask and then they have to pull off the mask to eat or drink, that's probably not the best idea. So that's still out there. I think those are some of the most major things that kind of overlap with what you guys would have in your situation.
Thank you. That's great. I'm glad you popped on to the town hall, Steve.
Yeah.
To put my 2 cents in, because where I work, we're wearing masks, we're wearing gloves. We're going to start taking temperatures as soon as we get thermometers in. I could tell you a little bit of what our employees' reactions have been to it. They were not happy with the masks and the gloves because they're uncomfortable. But when we got to telling them that we were going to start taking their temperatures, most of them were okay with it. They were quiet. They didn't say anything. But we had a couple that were very adamant that they did not like that policy at all. So you will have some people that probably won't come to the theater if you're going to take their temperature. But I think it'll be very minimal. Like I said, we only had 1 or 2 that were really upset about it, but they were very vocal and very upset in their opposition to having their temperature taken every day.
Okay.
Just hopping back on, one of the big things that we have not figured out for the lead either, that I think is one of the biggest things if you're going to take temperatures, is so what happens if a patron coming in has a temperature of 101? You send them away, and then do they get their money back, or what exactly happens? How does that look?
Yeah, that's a good question that we're gonna have to deal with.
And just to cover our procedures on it, when we do it, we have to maintain distancing between people. And if someone has a high temperature, we stop everything and have to sanitize the whole area before we can bring the next person in to take temperature. They're really adamant about if someone comes in sick, and then we send them home. They get lucky. They get paid for the day if they get sent home with the temperature. That you guys are only going to be worried about a ticket price.
Yeah. Just a thought. What if we sold masks? I mean, I know that's kind of like a little, maybe an ethical dilemma, but I mean, it's a way to make money, and you know.
Yes, Harrison.
Okay, my hand was raised.
Yeah, but I forgot that all of you probably do have access to the raise your hand feature.
Yes. So I noticed that you can buy merch that is face mask for the dinosaur. And so I think that might be something that we could look into for all of the posters for next season. I mean, great way to kind of show it off, you know, t-shirt, face mask, it's going to be the new thing.
Something that might help with that is, like, if you sold it for, like, a portion of it went to the hospital or some fund, that might make it a little more less ethical gray area.
I love that.
And if you put it in your, you know, when you do like the rollout of the season per se, or when the things, if you have it noted that you're going to follow CDC guidelines, and you know that you will turn people away at the temperature, then they shouldn't have an issue with it. You know, I mean, and you know, that's, let them fight the battle. Let them send you a letter or whatever that says, "Hey, I'm sorry," but you know, that's part of that's going to be the new normal. The normal we used to have in February is gone. I hate to say that, but it is. So, you know, that's, you know, we're in our business, same thing as Calvin. Calvin said, I mean, we're doing everything. We're still going to screen people going forward. So.
Well, this has been yep, Slory.
Just a few comments regarding the temperature taking and screening. I mean, that's our new norm. We do that every day. A couple things to consider with that, if we do that, and I'm for that, is the time involved that it will take to do that for each person coming in the door, that we would need to make sure we allot for that time. That and the fact that the thermometers will need to be cleaned in between people. And then for the mask piece, you know, I understand about selling them, but we need to keep in mind masks are not always easiest to find. It's going to be a supply issue with that too. So that's just something we need to consider.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. And I know like the theater itself has a sewing machine. And I don't know, Missy, what your thoughts on that are, but you know, I think I have one too. And if we got a bunch of volunteers to like even make those cloth ones, you know, like finding cloth, I know finding elastic is a little hard right now, but you know, maybe by the time we're opening up, we'll see a little more supply of that. And we can even, I mean, even if they're just those cloth masks, you know, they don't have to be like the whatever the actual
the surgical.
Yeah, the surgical. I mean, you know, whatever's gonna make people feel better. I think that's a good PR move.
Yeah, I think it'll be good to have some available, but I don't know if it's our responsibility to provide them for everyone. I think we'd be surprised at how many people actually have their own mask and would be happier wearing that instead of us providing it for them. But definitely, I agree that it would be good to have some available for those people who randomly do not have a mask at this point or at the point that we open again.
And speaking of the time to take temperatures, I read an article earlier this week that had suggested that perhaps performance venues adopt the airline seating model, where they say, you know, you're in rows A through G, you need to arrive at 7:10, and you're in rows G through X, you cannot arrive at the theater until 7:20, you know, so you kind of have this staggered seating, and then do the same thing with exiting. It's like church. Yeah, you go row by row and you have an usher to kind of dismiss the rows.
Makes sense.
Ideally, I think that's a great idea, but I think what will end up happening with what we see with our patrons is we'll have a ton of people loading up in our small little entryway there. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Knowing our patrons, they'll all, you know, come late for the flight, and their luggage will miss their connection in Schenectady.
I honestly don't think the time is a difference with the thermometer. The one that my chiropractor has been using, it literally just scans your forehead. And the time that she scans it on me, she's doing things that she would normally be doing with me anyway. Like, I mean, we have someone greeting at the door anyway, all the time. It's not an extra step being put in. And I feel very safe going into my chiropractor because she has all those protocols at the door. You don't wait, you do it at the door.
Yeah, and you have those little alcohol wipes
Yep.
that you just
wipe
quickly
it
wipe
right
it
off.
down after each person, and it goes pretty smoothly. You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Maybe we just need to have a hand sanitizer waterfall that everyone just walks through.
Oh.
All right. So now we can get to the thing that I actually have this slide up for. Sorry, we backtracked a little bit, but I'm glad we did. There was some really good conversation there. So now, you know, we've been producing a lot of stuff lately. However, we want to give you guys the opportunity to be more engaged in the creative process. And so we really want to hear from you guys about what we can be doing together right now. And don't worry if you suggest some grand project or some grand idea that you're like, I don't have time, he's gonna make me do it. Not necessarily. So if you've got a great idea, this is really a brainstorming session now for things that we could do to continue to, as our new mission statement says, to find ways to engage and enrich our community. Yeah. Any thoughts?
Well, this is just a thought. Could we have like a online readers theater, like pick out some sort of an easy script, like kind of like what readers theater used to be, and then just Zoom that together?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we've been hearing more and more about how the rights for that kind of stuff work and stuff. In fact, I was on a Zoom meeting earlier today that talked about that.
Excuse me. But anyway,
and sometimes it's play reading clubs,
right?
And you can do it like a book club.
But that would be, that'd be kind of fun, and just do, get together with whoever and do like a readers thing. I mean, no one has to look at it. It's just fun to do it together.
Mm-hmm. Mason.
Yeah, I like an idea like that. Anything that we can do on Zoom, I think would be beneficial. There again, as far as the legality goes, that's where I think a lot of it comes into question. But speaking from experience, there are a lot of really cool things you can do with Zoom to create the kind of world you want to create, as far as entrances and exits and things like that. And it can become really easy to engage with the people you're working with through this medium, I have found. And that was a surprise to me. And I've seen a handful of other things that artistic friends have done with Zoom that have turned out really cool. So I think there's a lot we could do with Zoom here. There again, as long as you don't hit any technical snags, because they tend to flare up. But yeah, otherwise it can be really slick. And I think there are some really cool things we can do here.
Yeah, Lisa.
Parks and Rec Creation, the TV show, they just had an episode where they wrote a script involving Zooming, basically, checking in on each other and doing video calls and stuff. Not that that would necessarily be the idea, but building a script around something that would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was clever.
SNL has been doing skits like that too.
Yeah.
They're really cool.
And they've been doing green screen stuff. I've just seen a few things, but so you put the green screen up and you can digitally then put them together.
Val.
Natalie.
Yeah. Well, we've been enjoying our fair share of at-home concerts. So we wondered if there was a way to do, I don't know how song rights would go with that either, but if you could get some of the familiar faces from CP to record a song and put that all together, that might be more engaging for the community as a whole versus us just hanging out as friends, you know? But just another
Not
idea.
that we don't love hanging out with y'all.
Right.
Yeah, the big thing becomes the rights on those sort of things is in getting permission. Though I learned today there's a difference between live streaming rights and pre-recorded and putting it on the internet rights, which I didn't realize there was such a distinction.
Jamie, didn't we at a board meeting talk about something kind of like what Natalie was talking about doing? I can't remember what we called it, but we talked about having people perform something, you know, online.
Yeah, and we've talked about having people record a song like together. Kind of, we've seen some theaters doing it, like Christmas caroling, but yeah. Yeah, we have talked about that. Or I had an idea this week about a song, and you sing, you're just passing off the phrase to the next person, and then everybody sings something together and stuff like that. So yeah, there's ways to do that, and actually, as long as we're not charging for it, and if it's particularly a show from MTI's catalog, and you tag them in it, they will look the other way. That came directly from the head of amateur licensing at MTI.
I like the idea of like a virtual cabaret, but also like on a different note, as a huge nerd, I would love to have like a cosplay contest where like we could like dress up as our favorite characters or whatever and like have a contest. I think that would be really cool.
I had a similar kind of a contest idea where you show off whatever, you sing, you dance, you whatever, do a monologue, and then it could be like a American Idol type thing where people vote in and have kind of a tournament of something.
Well, I had a different idea of sorts. At Peru, when I went there, we tried it many times, but it's very difficult to do a 24-hour theater where you go in, you cast, you write the play, and you set it all up, and then 24 hours later, you do the show. And if we could do something like that over Zoom, I think that would be really cool too. I mean, we'd have the rights too because somebody would write it.
Yeah, actually, and that's a thing that an idea that had come from a board brainstorming session actually was encouraging people to write short plays and then have a reading of it or a performance of some sort, kind of live streamed. So yeah,
people
like
people have the time for that now.
Yeah.
Well, and I do have a couple because like I said, I was at Peru and we tried to do this a couple times. So I have a short couple stuff that is public domain because I mean, I just typed it.
My daughter did the same kind of thing in art school. They do a 24-hour comic book. I was thinking about on your Friday film thing of maybe branching out into other medias, because I know on YouTube you can watch Hamilton. So you could, like, there are some Broadway musicals that are on YouTube right now. You could actually watch those and discuss them in your Friday film. And there's archives that have like old time radio shows on them where you could have people listen to an old time radio show and discuss what they felt about that medium as performing arts.
We could get puppets to Tyler's dinosaur.
Puppets! And then I told, Chris suggested that as somebody who's not really actively involved in the theater, but has been around it quite a bit, he doesn't understand how things like set design and things like that happen. And he would be interested to learn about more of like the backstage besides like costumes and set building and light design. So
yeah, we
Maybe
could
sort
do
of like master classes about that stuff. I was gonna say on that note, I have my drama kids. The American Theater Wing had like, what is a stage manager? What does a set designer do? All of those kind of things, and they're like master classes is a good way to do that. That would be really interesting to. We have the time. You guys are in the office. You can peel back the imaginary wall and talk about, you know, what's really downstairs and all that stuff. I know you do some of that for Monday Moments, but it could be longer.
Yeah, I was thinking like as a production team member, I would love doing a master class. Like that would be awesome. And I know it's just because I like to show off, but like but I want to do it. Ooh, I like Morgan's idea.
I was just reading in the chat. Morgan, you could unmute yourself, you know, and say it out loud. But she said, you know, pretend audition. It's twice a day of auditions, and what it was like. Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
So that you're not really all that scary.
Well, I am, but
He's the Simon Cowell of Beatrice.
I'm wearing a black shirt today, so.
It just needs to be a V-neck.
Yeah. Yeah, producing audio plays. I'm just going over a list of some other ideas that we've kind of been thinking about. This is a crazy idea that I had, and I want to get some feedback on. What about encouraging people to do a temporary mural on the side of the building?
I've always wanted to do something on that wall.
And it wouldn't be like, you know, a permanent paint thing, and it would be kind of like chalk markers or something, you know, so that they could talk about it. It'd have to be a theme, you know, and people would have to social distance as they come in to put it there. But I'm just throwing out, this is just an example, you know, something that you are excited about the future for, or something, or I'm proud of this community because of this. And even if it's just a picture or if it's just words, just something that it could be a community collaborative thing, and it wouldn't have to be permanent because you could do it with the chalk stuff. I know there's some other places around that are doing murals on the side of buildings, and like hope and stuff like that. Just, it was a crazy idea that I had the other day. Thoughts on that?
Love it.
I really like that idea. I think it sounds like a lot of fun, and I'm in Lincoln, but I drive to Beatrice to write something.
Also, what if Tyler drew something and then people could all come and color in Tyler's fabulous art?
Well, that's what some places are doing with
of.
their community murals, is that they have an artist put something up and then everyone comes in and colors it in or whatnot. But I don't want to put any more stuff on Tyler. He's already got a mural he's got to do this summer for Main Street. So.
Yeah, and they pay me much better than the theater does. So my mural rates are much higher than my directing rates.
That's true. I'm on the Main Street board. I know what we're paying him for that mural.
You could put out that you want a mural and have people submit ideas, and then do like an online donation to vote for your best, the mural we put on the wall. The one that receives the most donations is the one that goes up.
Like naming the
I would
fish.
also like to just real fast say, Tyler, you're worth every dollar.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but a positive general reception to that idea of some sort of community art project, because that's something that's not going on in Beatrice right now.
I could see more people doing that, because, like, more patrons doing that, because it's not directly theater performance related, that they might not feel like super comfortable, or not, you know, they like going to shows, and that's about as far as their theater enjoyment goes. So yeah, that's another option.
And what's really nice about that is it's something outside of the building. So a lot of people will see it, especially, think about how many people go through that drive-through every day paying bills and stuff. So it gets them to be looking at our building and going, oh, wait a second, what's going on in there?
Right. Because I was thinking that would be the side to do it on. At one point, I had thought about the side over by the police department so that the police, as they drove out of their parking lot, would see messages from the community every day. But I like the other side better. It's a little more visible as well. Awesome. Here's another wackadoodle idea I wanted to throw out. Lots of places are doing live stream trivia nights.
I was just going to come suggest that. I was running across the room to come back and say it.
The Fromm family competed on Theater Mania's trivia last night. We did not do fantastic, but we weren't the worst either, and we had a great time.
Well, we had talked about one of the film Friday nights and stuff about somehow playing some online game where we could all be involved. If we could figure that out, I think that would be fun to throw into the mix of things. And it wouldn't have to be on a Friday. It could be, let's be honest, it could be on a weeknight. It's not like we're really getting up to do much anything. At least some people are, but
I'm gonna say, hey, wait a minute.
some sort of trivia.
But even a Thursday night thing, that's when bars usually do their trivia nights.
I still get up for office hours even though no one shows up. But yeah, something where it's more interactive, and I think that would be a lot of fun.
I tried to do charades once, but nobody came.
Online charades? Yeah. Huh. I'm thinking how that, okay.
There's like generators online, come up with the word.
Uh-huh.
And it just shows it to you so that it's not like someone, you have to that's how you do that part of it.
Kind of like playing password.
Yeah, or we could do Pictionary online. I mean, it's like charades, except it'd be a little easier to do as far as Pictionary type thing.
Kind of a game night.
Yeah.
Awesome. Other thoughts or ideas? There's some great ideas here, gang.
Well, this is kind of silly too, but we talked about having the mural and a different form of art besides just theater. Could we somehow have, and I don't know, through Instagram or just an album on our Facebook page, but have like an art gallery of people who have done, it could be pottery, it could be drawing, it could be, any kind of a thing, take a picture of it, and then it's just kind of be an online art gallery type of thing. I mean, there's really no interaction, but it'd be kind of fun to see what people have been doing and that kind of thing.
Oh, this is a ripoff of something that a museum is doing. And it was on the national news last night, but they were encouraging people to, in their homes, it's kind of related to this costume contest, but they were encouraging people in their homes to recreate famous works of art. And what if we put up 10 production pictures and encouraged people to recreate the barricade in Les Mis, or something along that line?
I wanted to piggyback on Cheryl's idea a little bit, and maybe to get our younger kids involved, do some sort of fan art gallery or something where the kids, and we could do teenagers, adults, whatever, we could have different categories where they do art based on their favorite show that they've done or seen, just to kind of get some of that different levels of people involved in different ages, engage those kids in our programming too.
Did you call that fan art? I like that. Yeah. Because and they can use any medium they want.
Yeah, just get get those younger kids involved, because I know I can't be the only one with elementary, middle school age kids that are looking for more things to keep them busy.
Yeah, and if they wanted to recreate their favorite moment from Ripcord in clay, they could do that.
Yeah. Play-Doh. Let's use some Play-Doh.
Yeah. These are all great ideas, gang, and I really appreciate some of the outside the box thinking that we're having. So, anything else? Any or idea-wise?
Wasn't there sort of like car parade in Beatrice or something? Or
Every few weeks they do a cruise night.
maybe there's something in a parade going through the neighborhood with theater stuff, or
Oh, thank you for saying that, Lisa, because that was a wackadoodle idea I had when I was on a walk a couple weeks ago. There's a whole bunch of small little parks here in town. What if we had something that we could send a couple of performers to that could still maintain some distance, but they could perform in these local parks, and we let the neighborhoods kind of know, it's like on this day we're going to be in Charles Park, which is the one right across from us. But there's going to be 3 actors in Charles Park doing some stuff, and everyone is invited to come witness that.
Are the parks not still closed? Aren't they all closed right now?
I don't know. Are they?
I thought they were supposed to be.
Yeah, the city.
No, only the playgrounds are closed. You can still go
Oh.
play on the playground.
And
Yeah.
you just can't congregate in more than groups of more than 10 people, and no playground equipment. The trails are still open, so Charles Park it would still be fair game.
Yeah, and especially if we encourage people to kind of distance themselves and yeah. Drive
So
by
the
with the
horde of
windows
little old
open.
ladies
Yes.
wouldn't be able to get on the bus this time.
What? Oh.
I said, so the horde of little old ladies wouldn't be able to get on the bus this time. Play bingo.
From producers, yeah.
But Charles Park would be great because, excuse me, the administration building parking lot is just right there, and people could, stay in their cars and park, to watch something. So I don't know. That's cool.
I don't know what it takes to get access to a radio station, like the local churches have done. You park your car near where you're transmitting from.
I was just going to say that.
But that could be an option too.
so instead of a drive-in theater, we could have drive-in theater.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. A webinar I was on today, someone had suggested that very thing. Yeah, Sunday in the park with CP. Valen said in the chat there. Great. Well, this has gone a bit longer than I thought it was going to, but that's great. To continue to make use of people's time, I do want to say just a couple of other things here. There are a couple of things that we could use some help for right now. You don't have to volunteer for it. If you're interested in this, shoot me an email or a Facebook message. But we are going to be doing some calling to all of our subscribers and supporters and things like that. And it's not necessarily a sales call. It's actually just a touch base call, especially with some of our bigger supporters and things. It's just to call them up and say, how are you doing? How can the theater help you? What are you looking forward to in the season? Just to kind of touch base and communicate. It's related to our season ticket drive because it would end with and we hope you got your season ticket letter. But if anyone is interested in participating in that, the board is going to be doing that. But 5 or 6 more people to help make those phone calls will make those 200 to 300 phone calls go a lot faster.
Yeah, I have some experience in that arena. At work, we've been doing care calls, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's a really great way. And I know our customers have really appreciated people just reaching out, asking, "How are you doing? What can we do for you?" And so I think that's personally a great idea. And I know that's been received really well with work too. So I think people will really appreciate that, and you can sign me up.
Awesome. Yeah.
We've been doing that with school too, just touching base with families that we haven't heard from or anything like that, and just, just want to make sure that you're okay. And I think everyone's being really receptive. I'll do it. I have nothing else to do. Throw me a list.
Yeah, and there'll be a outline of a script too, so it's not like you're flying blind.
Right.
Awesome. Yeah. So the two of you and then anyone else, just shoot me a message or an email. And we'll get that sometime within the next week. We're going to start doing that kind of stuff. Let's see. So are there any other questions or comments before we kind of wrap things up here tonight? This has been a great discussion about stuff, some great ideas. But with everything else, nothing will beat getting back together on stage for rehearsals, for shows, and Friday nights at a bar. But yeah, we miss you guys because I'm tired of just Tyler and Elena being the only human beings that I see alive on a regular basis, and Morgan once a week.
Mason has his hand raised too, by the way.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. Yeah, Mason.
What the heck, man? I did it by the books and everything.
Sorry. I was looking at the camera,
So kind of branching off of that and not having people in the theater, I had one question I wrote down. When can the Flaming Idiot set come down?
It is already down.
Monday, it already came down, Mason.
Nice. Okay, follow up. I guess in this downtime, I would like to take a look at that shop a little bit if I could. I guess I don't know what and I can send you an email personally. But while I had Callan here, I kind of wanted to put the bug in your ear about that because I would like to take a look at that shop because it's a mess.
Yeah.
Mason, just give me a call. I still have a key to the theater. We can go in there anytime you want to.
Perfect. We'll set something up.
Yeah, and for once, staff-wise, we're actually all leaving at 5 o'clock every night anyway, so the building is empty. It's weird, as Tyler and Elena were talking about, they filmed last night, but it's weird to leave this building at night and it hasn't been full of people and stuff. All right, anything?
I gotta know, so how is the theater doing financially through all this?
We're okay, due mainly to the fact that we did get the PPP loan. So we'll be able to sustain through June. And the early renewals for season tickets have been really strong. And so that's also really helping us.
When you say loan, though, that has to be paid back, right?
Not that particular one. As long as we don't fire anyone by the end of June, we don't have to pay it back.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah, those loans have typically been more like grants, actually. It depends on the loan again, but yeah, it's typically more like a grant.
Yeah.
They just call it a loan.
Yeah, they just call it a loan, but yeah, as long as we use it for payroll, 75% of what we got for payroll, we're good. But after June is when the problem will come. If we are not able to resume operations in July or August, that's when we will start having some real problems.
Will you be sending out another letter, kind of letting our patrons know that, yes, we kind of got this money, but we're still kind of going to be in a world of hurt if we can't produce shows? Give us money?
That'll probably be a communication that we send out when the time comes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Steve.
When is the Beatrice version of Give to Lincoln Day?
not until September.
So kind of late for this.
Yeah.
Ask them to move it up.
Well, I was thinking everybody's gotten these stimulus checks recently. You might want to think about asking if someone wants to donate to the theater and you have some extra money left over from your check, the theater could use it. Kind of thing.
Especially people who are still working. You know, I totally get that it's helpful for people who like lost their jobs or unemployment or whatever, but like.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, and we did include in the season ticket letter that went out, at least it was in one draft of it, that you don't need to itemize your taxes this year in order to deduct up to $300 in charitable contributions. So I kind of made that pitch as a reason to upgrade people's memberships. Most of you should have gotten that letter. It's like, hey, so extra $100, you were already going to give us 200. You can deduct that 100 right off your taxes next year.
Yeah, and I would watch too for people who are still working. I know there are some companies, and I suppose it depends too on the company, but that are matching donations right now for charities or nonprofits. That's a good thing to watch out for. And I don't know how they necessarily connect with if they just write a check to CP or who, you know, what, or, you know, I don't know how that works, but just watch out for that in your work emails.
Stop the screen share there. All right. Anything else? Peggy looked like she was saying something. I saw her hands come towards the screen.
Harrison freaked out when you stopped sharing your screen.
Oh.
You became a massive head on her computer. And
well. All right. Well, like I said, anything else for the good of the cause?
What's next Friday's film?
Tyler?
Next Friday's film is Death Trap. It's an adaptation of a stage play. We've been doing mostly musicals, so this is kind of a different movie for us. Yeah, it's directed by Sidney Lumet, has Michael Caine and Christopher Reeve in it. And so, yeah, we'll talk about that at 7:30 on Friday. And that is a watch on your own time thing. I know some people have been a little confused by that, but go watch it on your own and then come discuss it for about an hour. And yeah, it'll be fun.
And all of you should come.
Yeah. It is fun. They've been really good discussions too, and then it's been just nice to hang out afterwards too.
So where can you find this movie at?
It's actually when I post the viewer guides, which usually go up on a Monday or a Tuesday, I always put links to all of the streaming services that it's available on.
Okay.
And I would suggest going. I have a lot of really great opinions, and everybody likes to hear them. So
I know you have a lot of opinions, Harrison. I don't know if they're really great, but you do have a lot of opinions.
I will say,
Sheila does research.
If nothing else, I think we are good. So thank you again, everyone, for being part of this.